Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back to Gazland Trivia, the #1 trivia game in all of Gazland. Here today, we have one fellow Gazalandian who's going to teach us about the Constitution, the government, and the Charter and Rights of Freedoms. In Gazland, how did they form or did everything start? Please, everyone, please welcome Amy.
Hi Bianca, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there today. And I hope that this is okay enough, and I'm just so excited. And I am just, like I already said, I am just so excited. I even dressed up with the flowers and it's strapless, and I'm so happy to be a Gazalandian. And I hope you enjoy my presentation, and you can just pretend that I'm on your left. And everything will be perfect.
So please, Amy, tell us, how did the Constitution form? Were there any acts involved?
So I'm not really sure about the Constitution, so I kind of wrote a little something here about what I think it was. And I'm not, you kind of see that I'm not really sure as to how it is, but I think it's good enough, and I think I'm on the right track. So Gazland was once known, but nothing as water. On May 24th in 1981, a few fellow Romanians decided to go to St. John's, Newfoundland in Canada, I think it was, and trade eggs, with eggs being their largest export. They were 8 hours from reaching St. John's when a fellow Romanian leader by the name of Marcelu claimed that his boat was hitting land. It turns out that it was, and he discovered new land. He said that as he got onto this island, it felt humid. It felt like there was a huge canopy over the tent, trapping all of the air. This is when they found out that this new place is always going to be hot, in the 20 degree zone, and that's perfect, because I just love 20 degrees. He kept going. He said it felt like being in a pond. He then saw a tent made out of wood, which is what we know as a gazebo now, obviously. He was the first person to discover the gazebo. He said, let's name this Gazland. Gaza coming from gazebo, you know? Yeah, you feel me? Yeah. He ended up living his life there. He waited until the sun dried up the water, and he cleared out the land from anything else that wasn't needed, like mud. Yeah. As Gazland developed, Newfoundlanders discovered this new country. They threatened to make Canada autocratic if they wouldn't leave, and they were going to blame this on the Romanians. They got into this big dispute about this until Gazalandians finally raised their voice and spoke. Translated to English, they said, "Having this country here could be a great benefit for us. We want to continue developing Canada and making them even more multicultural." And that's an exact quote that I got off the internet, so I know it's real. They sat down and talked, and Newfoundlanders still didn't agree with what Gazalandians were saying. They were mad. They wanted to get rid of them, but then all of a sudden, a golden retriever came in. His front legs were cut off, and he needed medical attention right away. Bianca Marcu, another fellow leader from Romania, and I really hope this is true, and Simonita Brankovic, a Canadian leader, saw him suffering. I think Simonita, sings the national anthem. I'm not really sure if I'm right though. Simonita and Bianca developed a bond. She remembered the Charter of Rights and Freedoms saying, "Every citizen of Canada has the right to enter, remain in, and leave Canada." This reminded her that although Gazalandians weren't citizens, they were their trading partners, and they needed to be nice to them or they would just leave, you know? And so by June 25th, 1981, she went back home and called a vote with Newfoundlander citizens, since this additional country would only affect them because they're attached to them. Gazalandians won a majority, and so their country was official on August 7th, 1981, also known as Gazalandian Day. Hello! Okay, anyway, back on topic. So, there's a few acts here that I thought were really important to share. So the new Multicultural Nations Act in 1982, the NMCNA, it was the birth of Gazland. It allowed Canada to have another culture added to their country. This reassures that Gazalandians belong where they are. Also, Gazland developed a coat of arms and a brand new country flag. Now they can begin with further growing their country and government. I thought that was so cool, and I love this, you know. In 1983, the MCA, the Money Change Act, which was in 1983, like I just said, okay. It took place because Marcoullis thought that it was time for new currency. Since Gazaland consists of mainly Canadians and Romanians, it was thought that it would be beneficial if we can use both euros and dollars. This benefits any immigrant coming from Romania or Canada because they don't have to go through the process of exchanging money. Charter of Rights and Freedoms Act in 1985. This is my favorite. Just a few years later, in 1985, the CRFA, Charter of Rights and Freedoms Act, happened. This gave Gazalandians freedoms such as equality and thought and even expression. It just showed that it was a part of Canada, because the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is like a Canadian thing, is it not? Like, yeah, and that's like all I have.
Thank you very much, Amy. And now for the Charter and Rights and Freedoms. Can you give us 5 characteristics that you know?
Okay, so like a quick overview of the Charter and Rights and Freedoms. I have like 5, and they're like kind of like explained. So, inviting rights. So I think that like Gazaland thinks that the sense of belonging is very important, and they want them to like feel welcome. Like, you feel me? Yeah. Mobility rights. Anyone is welcome. We don't discriminate against anyone. We allow citizens to move to any province in Canada and work, since Gazalandians are part Romanian and Canadian. They can go back and forth from Romania and Canada to work, which is like amazing. So, language rights. Language rights. Okay. Romanian and English are official languages. Right to communicate in any of the languages with government. Right to be taught in both languages. General rights. Guarantee of Canada's multicultural heritages. I can't like speak, this is like, oh my god, okay. You can tell that I'm like super nervous. Okay, so anyway, equality between both sexes, protection of separate schools, because Romanians are like Orthodox, so there's like Orthodox schools, obviously, in Gazaland, and then Catholic schools like Canadians have, and then public schools for anyone else who does not want to be part of these religions. Lastly, second last, democratic freedoms. The right to vote, right to call a vote, right to complain. Parliament must sit once every 6 months, because we develop quick, so like we need to like sit down, chill, have a coffee, and talk. Well, I think that's like how it works, but they really need to sit down and talk about what's happening. And then legal rights. So the right to life, liberty, security. And if they're arrested, everyone must be informed. No counseling needed, because relaxation is how we counsel. We need to relax, and that's how everything is just dealt with here.